What if I told you the moon is hiding something so powerful that whoever finds it first will control the future of the entire solar system? Not gold, not diamonds, something far more valuable than that dot, and right now, quietly, mission by mission. China is getting closer to it than any other country on Earth. In the last 15 years. China has sent orbiters, landers, rovers, and even a robot that hops into the darkest craters on the moon. They've landed on the side of the moon that no human has ever even seen. They grabbed ancient rocks from billions of years ago and brought them back home. But here's what nobody is talking about. China is not doing this for glory. They are not doing this to win a race. They are doing this because something frozen, something ancient, something that has been sitting in total darkness for over 1 billion years, is waiting to be discovered. And once someone finds it and uses it, the rules of space exploration change forever. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what China is hunting, why it matters, and why the clock is ticking. Let's get into it. Most countries look at the moon and think, let's just land on it and figure the rest out later. China looked at the moon and built a 30-year master plan. Back in the early 2000s, Chinese scientists sat down and mapped out every single step they would need to take, in order. No shortcuts, no rushing. Every mission had one job: teach them what they needed to know before the next mission. Nothing wasted, nothing skipped. The plan had 4 clear phases. Phase 1, fly round the moon and map every inch of it. Phase 2, actually land on it. Phase 3, bring pieces of it back to Earth. Phase 4, build something permanent up there that never leaves. Think of it like constructing a skyscraper. You don't put the roof on before the foundation is set. You don't install windows before the steel frame is standing. Every step must be solid before the next one begins. In 2007, China launched Chang'e 1, named after an ancient Chinese moon goddess. It orbited the moon for over a year and created the most detailed lunar maps ever produced at that time. Quiet, precise, unstoppable. In 2013. Something happened that the entire scientific world was not ready for. China landed on the moon. The first soft landing anyone had achieved in nearly 40 years. And with it came a small rover called U2, which means Jade Rabbit in Chinese. U2 rolled off the lander, touched the grey dusty surface, and immediately got to work. Within days, it found something that made scientists stop and stare at their data screens. The rocks were wrong. For decades, everything we knew about moon rocks came from the Apollo missions. Scientists had studied those same samples for 50 years and built an entire picture of what the moon was made of. Textbooks were written, models were built. A complete story was told. U2's instruments found a type of volcanic rock that matched none of it. The chemical fingerprint was completely different. It was like opening a cookbook you had read 100 times and finding a recipe that was never supposed to be there. This told scientists something massive. The moon is not one simple rock floating in space. It is geologically complex, with regions that formed through entirely different processes in completely different eras. Everything we thought we knew was just the beginning. Here's Something most people don't realize about the moon always shows us this same face. Every night you look up, you see the same craters, the same mountains, the same surface. The other side, the far side, has never once been visible from Earth, not even through the most powerful telescope ever built. Landing there was considered almost impossible. The moment a spacecraft touches down on the far side, it loses all contact with Earth. No signals, no commands, no way to know if something has gone wrong. It's like trying to talk to someone locked in a soundproof room with no phone and no windows. China solved this with a brilliant move. Before launching the lander, they sent a small relay satellite and parked it in a special orbit, where it could see both Earth and the far side at the same time. Signals could now travel between the lander and Earth through this satellite, like a messenger running between two people who cannot see each other. In 2019, Chang'e landed in a crater so enormous it is roughly the size of Western Europe. And what it found there rewrote the timeline of the moon's entire history. Now here is the part that changes everything. Picture the very bottom of the moon, the South Pole, because the moon barely tilts on its axis. Sunlight hits the poles at an extremely low angle. Some craters near the pole are so deep that the surrounding walls block every single ray of sunlight completely. Not for a day, not for a season, not for 1,000 years. Some of these craters have been in total darkness for more than 1 billion years. The temperature inside drops to minus 200 degrees Celsius. That is colder than the surface of Pluto, one of the coldest natural environments anywhere in the solar system. But here's why that extreme cold is actually the most exciting thing in space right now. Scientists believe those frozen, pitch-black craters are storing something extraordinary. Water ice, billions of tons of it, perfectly preserved for hundreds of millions of years. Like food sitting untouched in the back of a freezer no one ever opens. Now think about what water actually means out in space. Water is oxygen plus hydrogen. Oxygen is what astronauts breathe. Hydrogen is one of the most powerful rocket fuels ever developed. That frozen water is not just water. It is the key to everything. Let's talk about what that water ice actually means for the future of space travel. Right now, every single mission leaving Earth carries all its fuel, all its oxygen, all its supplies from the surface. And getting anything off the ground on Earth is incredibly expensive because our planet's gravity is enormous. The moon's gravity is only 1/6 of Earth's. Launching fuel from the moon costs a fraction of what it costs from home. Here's the game-changing idea. If we can dig up that lunar ice, split it into oxygen and hydrogen, and convert it into breathable air and usable rocket fuel, the moon stops being just a destination. It becomes a fueling station, a supply depot, the first off-planet gas station in human history, sitting right next to Earth, ready to send spacecraft deeper into the solar system. Future missions heading to Mars, or the moons of Jupiter, or even further out, could stop at the moon, fill up, and continue onward without carrying everything from Earth. Whoever builds this infrastructure first will have a head start on everything that comes. after it for generations. This is exactly why China keeps going back to the South Pole, mission after mission, year after year. To confirm that water ice actually exists in those craters. You cannot just orbit above and take guesses. You have to physically go inside. But normal rovers run on solar panels. No sunlight means no power. And the sharp, jagged terrain inside a crater that has sat undisturbed for 1 billion years would destroy a standard rover within minutes. China's solution is something that has never existed before in the history of lunar exploration. A robot that can jump. The Chang'e 7 mission, planned for 2026, includes a small hopping probe that leaps directly into the permanently shadowed craters. It carries instruments that detect water molecules in the air and soil, sniff out hydrogen signatures, and analyze frozen deposits deep in the ground. It jumps in, does its work, and gets out before the extreme conditions destroy it. Think of sending a frog into a dark cave instead of trying to drive a car down there. The full Chang'e 7 mission includes an orbiter, a lander, a surface rover, and this hopping probe, all working together as one coordinated team, feeding data back to scientists on Earth. If it confirms large water ice deposits, it will be one of the greatest discoveries in human history. Everything China has done, every orbiter, every rover, every daring landing, has been building toward one final goal, a permanent human base on the moon. China calls it the International Lunar Research Station. The ILRS construction is planned to begin in the early 2030s. Robotic missions will arrive first, delivering power units, communication towers, and laboratory modules. Machines will handle the dangerous early construction before a single astronaut ever boards a rocket heading there. And China is not doing this alone. Dozens of nations have already expressed interest in joining this project. On the astronaut side, China's Long March 10th rocket, powerful enough to lift 27,000 kilograms into lunar orbit, successfully completed a key test flight in early 2026. Their crew spacecraft passed an emergency abort test at the same time. The first human visits will be short, but those short stays are not the destination. They are the rehearsal. Each visit gets longer, until one day humans are not visiting the moon anymore. They are living there. The moon was never a finished story. Every mission China launches proves that it was only ever the introduction. And the next chapter is about to begin. If this blew your mind, subscribe to MRNO, because this story is far from over.